My neighbour was a serial killer, my cellmate was a Satanist. He's got a satanic inverted pentagram tattooed on his forehead, and for murder, part of a cult that's drinking blood and eating human body parts. And he was actually very nice to me.
This is Shaun Attwood. He was a millionaire stockbroker in the 1990s. After bringing the rave scene to Arizona, he became a drug kingpin and ran his own international drug smuggling operation. A shy kid growing up, he was often bullied at school and nearly got beaten to death by some drunks at a gas station. After he graduated from university, he flew to Arizona, made millions in the stock market, started his own drug business, and was dubbed the Bank of England. At one point, he even ended up on Sammy Gravano's hit list. After a series of events, he was eventually arrested and ended up in one of the worst prisons in America. This is the insane story of how a millionaire stockbroker became a drug kingpin. Shaun Attwood was born on October 28, 1968. He grew up in the small chemical manufacturing town of Widnes, northwest England. At school, he was a bit of a nerd and often got bullied. But even from a young age, Shaun began to show his potential. During lunch breaks, he would often read the Financial Times with the help of a teacher who translated the complex numbers and business jargon. Shaun made his first investment in the stock market at just 16 years old using his own pocket money. When he was a teenager, Shaun flew to Arizona to visit his two aunts. Unsurprisingly, when the young, pale Englishman stepped off the plane, he was dazzled by the bright sun and instantly fell in love with America. The luxury houses, swimming pools, and the blue skies. America was the promised land, and it instilled in him a burning desire to become successful. Back in England, Shaun did as his parents advised, completing A-levels in maths, physics, and economics at school before going on to do a degree in business studies at the University of Liverpool. One day, while he was filling up his car at a gas station, some drunks started to abuse him. One of the attackers took an iron bar and smashed his teeth in. He thought he was getting killed. He went unconscious and woke up in a pool of his own blood. He eventually went to the hospital to get treated. After the incident, he suffered from anxiety and became very self-conscious. During the late 80s, a new music scene swept across the UK. Shaun was captured by the wide-eyed youngsters in psychedelic clothing partying at raves. During his final year at university, Shaun was asked by a friend from his economics class to go to a party in Manchester. At the party, Shaun tried ecstasy and speed for the first time. His anxiety went away, and he was making friends with half the people at the club. The one-off event quickly became more regular. Every weekend, Shaun and his friends would join a convoy of cars heading to illegal raves. However, he didn't let his new hobby get in the way of his lifelong dream. In the summer of 1990, after graduating from university, he boarded a plane straight to Arizona. For around 6 years, Shaun worked as a stockbroker. High-pressure telesales with brokers cursing and screaming on the telephone. He was a fast learner and excelled as a stockbroker. He even had a whole team working under him and began earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. On the weekends, Shaun blew off steam by throwing parties at his apartment. He started buying 50 ecstasy pills at a time from a local dealer and gave them away to his friends. Soon, he pledged to bring the UK rave scene to Arizona. Stockbroking became too much for him. Then, in 1997, he left his firm and poured most of his savings into technology shares. The shares shot up at the height of the dot-com bubble, and Shaun's portfolio was worth more than $2 million. At the same time, he began using his wealth to organize bigger raves. He became frustrated with the small-time local dealers, so he drove to LA to see what he could buy from someone higher up in the chain. For a few years, Shaun built up the infrastructure of his drug-dealing business solely using ecstasy sourced from LA. He hired a team of people and gave them cars and apartments. But after a while, Shaun was curious as to where the ecstasy pills were sourced from. He found out that the pills were coming from a production plant in Holland, so he sent some of his people over to try and source the ecstasy pills. Shaun's mules would carry around 5,000 pills at a time, but as they became more confident, the number went up to 40,000 pills per smuggling mission. Back then, airport security wasn't as strict as it is today, and they didn't even know what ecstasy looked like. In one incident, one of his drug mules got stopped by security. They took out the ecstasy pills and asked her what they were. The drug mule said they were just vitamin pills. The security put the ecstasy pills back in her luggage and told her to have a nice flight. Back in Arizona, Shaun's business was soaring. He earned the nickname the Bank of England, and his ecstasy pills were dubbed English Shaun's. He even gained protection from the New Mexican Mafia after protecting a gang member called G-Dog from the cops. Shaun didn't know it yet, but he was dealing with one of the most violent gangs in Arizona. With the free protection of a powerful criminal gang and the false confidence instilled by increasingly regular drug use, Shaun got a bit too comfortable. His competitor in the ecstasy market was Sammy the Bull Gravano, a mafia murderer and former underboss of the Gambino crime family. Gravano's crew members attempted to kill Shaun and many of his associates. One night, Gravano's crew members were dispatched to kidnap Shaun from a nightclub to take him out to the desert to have him killed. But luckily, Shaun's best friend, Wildman, got into a fight that night and they had to leave the club in a hurry. After the conflict, Shaun stopped dealing and gave up his ecstasy business. In 2001, Shaun fell in love. His girlfriend at the time, Claudia, convinced him to clean up his act. Persuaded, he began trading stocks online. He thought he'd gotten away with years of criminal activity unscathed. But unfortunately for him, in Arizona, police had 7 years to convict him and they didn't require physical evidence of the drugs themselves. It turned out that police had been aware of Shaun's drug business for years, tapping phone calls and gathering witness statements. In May 2002, Shaun was arrested and faced a 200-year sentence in America's deadliest prison. The jail was run by Sheriff Joe Arpaio, also known as the Angel of Death. After serving 2 years in Maricopa County Jail prior to sentencing, Shaun pled guilty to a sentence of 9.5 years and was banned for life from entering the United States. He detailed dead rats in the food, cockroaches crawling in his ears at night, gang mayhem and violence. Even the guards were murdering the prisoners. During this time, Shaun lost about 28 pounds due to the unbearable food. After signing a plea bargain, Shaun was moved to the Arizona Department of Corrections. The prison was completely gang-controlled, fights often broke out, and at one point, he even saw an inmate get beheaded. His first cellmate was a Satanist put in jail for murder. He was part of a cult that drank blood and ate human body parts. His prison guard then decided to play a prank. He moved Shaun to a new cell where his new cellmate was a serial home invader who had been convicted for breaking into people's homes and smashing their kneecaps in with hammers. For Shaun, the prison was hell on earth. In his free time, Shaun began to read. He read around 1,000 books in just over 6 years. With his newfound love of reading came a desire to write. He began an anonymous blog called John's Jail Journal. The blog, which was sneaked out and published by Shaun's visitors, exposed the terrible conditions of the jail, riots, stabbings, and rapes. It received national media attention. In 2007, Shaun was released from prison. He went back to the UK and moved into his parents' house. Even at home, he received numerous phone calls from people he'd met in prison, asking him to help establish a drug importation business to the UK. But Shaun declined and chose to start a new life. Since leaving prison, Shaun became a best-selling author and has published a wide variety of books, including one about the famous Colombian drug kingpin Pablo Escobar. He also gave a TED Talk, started a YouTube channel, and even hosts a podcast. He's also become a strong proponent against the war on drugs. He tours schools across the UK, educating children on the risks related to illegal drugs. He also does a lot of charity work for local communities. He's become a changed man who's completely turned his life around. From millionaire stockbroker to drug kingpin, what can we learn from Shaun Attwood's insane journey? It goes without saying that the drug business is a dangerous one, And while drugs are glorified by pop culture, they can have serious consequences. But one thing we can all learn from Shaun Attwood is his resilience. He has faced so much adversity in his life, from being bullied at school and nearly beaten to death to surviving one of the toughest prisons in America. He always found a way to keep going and never gave up in a tough situation. And by writing books and giving talks, he's able to share his experience and highlight the dangers of the drug business. What do you guys think? Are drugs glorified in pop culture, and should countries end the war on drugs? The comment section in this one will be very interesting. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to check out our Patreon, where you'll get access to exclusive content, monthly Q&As, Discord benefits, video scripts, and more. Every dollar will be reinvested back into the channel. Your contributions will massively improve the quality of our content. Link is in the description. Thanks for staying till the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Also be sure to check out our other videos on this channel. Links are in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.